I went to the Grammys this year, and I have been severely depressed ever since. Let's talk about it. I grew up homeless for the first 17 years of my life. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and around 13, 14, my mom moved me, her, and my brother here to Orange County, California. Growing up homeless, it was reading books like the Harry Potter series, the Babysitter's Club, the Cheetah Girls series, Gossip Girl, watching TV shows like Oprah, Extreme Home Makeover, Starting Over, and listening to music like Beyonce, Sierra, Yolanda Adams. That inspired me and helped me through the hard times. So in the last episode, I told you all that I have 3 goals for my life: to entertain, to inspire women of color to reach past their struggles for their goals and their dreams, and to end familial homelessness in America. By the time my body goes in the ground, there will be systems in place to make it so that no child is ever homeless again. I have been watching the Grammys ever since I was 9 years old, and I have wanted to attend ever since Beyonce performed Dangerously in Love. And at the end, she shook her hand like this and reached it out, and a dove flew into her hand. That was the coolest thing ever. And again, I told y'all in the last episode that I have always strived to be like Oprah. Watching her as a homeless little girl, making so many people's dreams come true on her show, the Oprah Winfrey Show, I just knew I wanted to do that for other people. I was always so inspired after watching an episode of her show. It is also important to note that I have very vivid dreams. They don't happen often, but when they do, it's poignant. It's for a reason. I'm still deciphering all of these reasons, but just know they happen. So at the end of January, I had one. So I rent a room in a house. In the dream, I woke up in a room that I knew it was mine, but it wasn't the same room that I rent. It was raining. In the house, in my room, raining, like full-blown torrential downpour. And I woke up happy that it was raining. Even though I, myself, everything in my room was drenched and soaking wet, right? I go to grab my phone. It's face down on my dresser. I go to grab it, I flip it up, and it's dry. It's completely dry. And I look around, and I'm loving how wet it is. So I walk outside my room to go show my 2 roommates. I go looking for my 2 roommates, and I cannot find them. But instead, I find all these random people in the house. Random. So now, in my mind, I'm looking for my roommates that I live with now, but the house is completely different. The reason I know it's my house is because my room is in the front of the house, just like it is here in reality. So I go into what I perceive to be the kitchen and into my roommate's room, and these random people are there. And I'm like, okay, cool. Come, let me show you the rain in my room, because as soon as you walk out of my room, there's no rain. So I walk 2 people back. This guy, skinny, brown hair, short cropped. This woman, beautiful, big, beautiful woman with red hair. I take them back to my room and I open the door to show them. And I look back and I'm like, you ready? I open the door. There's no rain. It's just straight sunshine in my room. And the guy walks in. He looks around. And I'm like, Then I look up. And the entire roof of my room, the entire ceiling, is black and moldy, and like it looks like it's getting ready to like there's little bubbles of, it looks like filled with water that are getting ready to burst at any second. It's gaudy looking. So I looked at the guy and I'm like, is that mold? And he looks up and he's like, yeah. And he starts mansplaining what it is. And I'm like, tuning him out, because as soon as I look back up at the ceiling, the mold is gone. The original ceiling is gone. What's in place is this attic-like ceiling. You know, those attics that are almost like with a ceiling that doesn't look finished. It's just balance beam, wood balance beams that come into like a little house shape. It looks like that with exposed wood and everything. It was high up. And there was that insulation, you know, that yellow insulation that they put, the yellow and pink insulation that they put in attics and roofs and stuff. You could see that. However, while that was high up, here at this level, at the normal ceiling level, was a net. See-through, clear. And so like when I looked up, I can see that there was a net, and I can see that I was seeing through the net to see the insulation on the balance beams. And when I looked back down, some of the net was in my hands. This is the dream that I had before I even found out that I was going to the Grammys. For about 8 years now, I have been a seat filler. What is that? A seat filler is someone who fills seats for broadcasted live television events. So events like the Grammys, where when the camera pans over the audience, it looks better if the audience is full than if there's a whole bunch of holes in the audience. Because then it's like, you couldn't even get some people to be here to watch your show. Why should I watch your show, you know? So they pay people, or they recruit people with the incentive of hanging out with celebrities to come and literally sit in seats to fill them, so that when the camera pans over, it's always full. Okay? I've been doing this for 8 years. So I knew that the company that I seat fill with always does the Grammys every single year. And so for 8 years, I have been applying to be a seat filler for the Grammys. Never got it. They sent out an email saying, hey, we're going to start looking for people for the Grammys 2024. You know, it's opening up. I was like, there's no point in me even signing up, because they've never given it to me. And each year, more and more people apply for the opportunity. So I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. Until a couple of days later, or maybe that same day, I saw the rumor that Beyonce might be performing Tina Turner's tribute. Tina Turner and Angela Bassett playing Tina Turner was another one of those movies that inspired the hell out of me as a kid. Shouldn't have been watching it as a kid. Let's be serious. But I did. I loved it. It inspired me because she overcame a whole bunch of hardship. And at the time, I was struggling. And this was younger than 9. This was like when I was 4, 5, 6 that I was watching that movie repeatedly and loving it. So at the time that I saw that rumor on X or Twitter, I think, I imagined in my head sitting in the audience while Beyonce did this Tina Turner tribute. And I just saw her doing and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna apply. Let me go ahead and put my hat in the ring, you know? And so I did. And I forgot about it. That's the key point I want y'all to take away from this, because I manifested this, right? And the key to this manifestation was that I envisioned it, I acted by applying, and then I forgot about it and let it go. It was a Saturday morning and I was up at 3 a.m. deciding whether or not I was going to go to the gym that morning. And I decided I wasn't. I rolled over to pull up Amazon Kindle and get my read on. And the first thing I noticed when I looked at my phone was not 1, but 2 emails from the from the seat filler company. I was like, hold on. If it's rejection, they'll only send me 1 email. If it's a yes, they always send 2 emails. Your notification with all the rules, and then your ticket. Yo, I looked, congratulations, you have been chosen. That's literally how I did it, because it was like 3 in the morning. And again, I live with 2 roommates, so I couldn't scream like I wanted to, but oh my God. And so the next week and a half was really just getting ready to embark on an adventure, because I was like, first of all, I'm going to the Grammys. And second of all, I'm one powerful bitch. Not me manifesting one of my biggest dreams. What? And a part of me was like, damn, universe, God, you can't give me $1 million? You know, like, why can't I manifest $1 million? You know, the Grammys is cool. And I think these thoughts are the thoughts that triggered the downfall. Because remember, this is not a happy story. It is, but it's not. Now, it is important to note that the Friday before the Grammys, I was having a conversation with Tisha from the last vlog. We have very deep spiritual conversations at work all the time. And we talk about our goals and our dreams. And I don't tell her everything because, again, I don't fully trust her. She works for the Wicked Witch of the East. That's her supervisor, so gotta tread lightly, you know? I was talking to her about how with my TikTok and Instagram and Pinterest and all that, I'm working on goals 1 and 2, entertaining and inspiring. But I haven't done anything for number 3, ending familial homelessness in America. And I kept telling her that, you know, I had went last year and got the paperwork together to start my own nonprofit so that I can begin some work, because I have all the ideas. I just need to act. And I found out that you cannot start a nonprofit in California by yourself. You have to have people. I don't have any people. And I need very specific people who are willing to skirt the lines of the law to help me end familial homelessness. I need people who are willing to go up against the thousands of people who protest in Orange County alone every year to prevent new homeless shelters from being built. You gotta have tough skin. You gotta be ready. You gotta be committed. So I was telling Tisha the Friday before the Grammys how, like, I don't know where to start. I have the ideas, but how do I implement them? If I don't have people, how do I find people? The shirt is from Walmart. The pants are from Walmart. The entire outfit is $11. The next day is the first Saturday of February. And so on the first Saturday of the month, I go with my mentor, same mentor, to a writing group. And she knows that, of course, like I've been saying, I'm writing a book. And so she takes me with her to this writing group, because they have authors come in and discuss the hardships and the downfalls and tips and tricks on getting published, or what to do after you've been published, or a whole bunch of things, all the business and behind the scenes of being an author, pretty much. We were supposed to have a different speaker, but he got sick, and so he canceled. And so instead, they brought in this woman who was a pillar of the community in Santa Ana. I do not remember her name, but I'm going to put her information up on the screen. I live in the city of Santa Ana, California, and it's a city that's being heavily gentrified by, and so is rich in Latin culture. And she is a Latin woman who wrote a book about what it means to be a Latin person in Santa Ana in Orange County, California. And that book is now required reading for high schoolers in the city of Santa Ana. But the way she started out is she wanted to have a bookstore, but she couldn't afford a brick and mortar. So in Santa Ana, there are lots of vendors who sell food on the streets. So, you know, corn and fruit and all types of things, candy, snacks. And so she got herself a cart, put some books on the cart, and wanted to sell those books on the street, just like the food vendors. However, there is a law in Santa Ana that says you cannot sell anything but food on the streets. And so from the very beginning, she had to find ways to skirt the laws so that she can sell books, not drugs, books. Like, come on now. And that's how she started. And now she has a brick and mortar in Santa Ana, which is the only Latin-owned bookstore in Santa Ana. And it has meeting space and all these things. And she educates her people and other people, but mostly people of color, on what's going on in Santa Ana. And she has all of this, and it's a nonprofit. She has all of this, but that's where she started. Right after I was just up here talking about how am I supposed to start my 501c3. So I talked to her after she speaks, and she, you know, reads from her book. And I'm like, I don't have people to start my 501c3. Like, how did you go about skirting these laws when you knew, like, selling books was illegal? She said, you don't need a 501c3. There is a way to piggyback off of someone else's nonprofit and still do what you need to do. What?